All right, round one. We've got the choice. We're going to play first. And the old one lander, so we better mulligan that. Oof. Five lander with a dash. Or do I want to go to five? Ugh, that's tough. That is very tough. Hmm. Hmm. I'm not applying any early pressure. The earliest I can apply pressure is turn three. Ugh. This is one of those extremely difficult hands to decide on. Um, if I go to five and I get no lands, I straight up just lose this game. I feel like I might as well concede. If I have to go to four, I feel like a concession. I'd rather just concede than show them in any cards. If I keep this and I draw lands, I just lose. So, do you see the two glaring uh, situations that I can't decide what's worse? I really can't decide. These are the hands where it's like I can't decide what's worse: going to five and having to go to four because I just don't see any lands, or keeping this and drawing lands and just losing through flood. Ah, oh man, that is so tough. I'm gonna keep it. I hate this hand. I really do. I just hate the idea of going to five and just losing more. So I'm gonna keep this. Like I said, I really don't like this hand much at all. I think it's just overall it's probably it's as low on the totem pole of keeps that you could possibly imagine. But I'm hopeful that I can actually draw some spells and make this hand work. Like I said, if I draw lands, I pretty much just lose the game. Is what it's gonna boil down to. I mean, the one benefit of keeping this hand is I'm only running um, I'm only running 16 lands, so there's a higher percent chance that I draw non-lands. But all right, that was what we call a good draw and an absolutely necessary one based on this hand. Um, so that is satisfying. Can't block it. All right, no plays is good. Okay, didn't drew a land, which is bad, but considering we drew that two drop right at the right time, I am feeling better. I will say that. I'm already feeling much better about this hand just based on drawing the two drop. All right. I think here, so I can dash again, and what that does is let me dash plus defeat next turn, or I can just hard cast this now. The reason I'm tempted to dash is because it gets me 3 damage in, and I don't have anything else going on, which is a reasonably compelling reason, but I think I'm going to hard cast it. And hope to draw an actual spell next turn, especially one that's 3 mana or less, which would let me defeat plus play that spell. So I'm hoping that I can draw one of 15 remaining spells. If I can draw, I have 15 cards currently, so close to 50% chance of drawing an actual spell that's 3 mana or less, and actually much more than that when you consider the rest of what we've got. So. All right, very good, very good. No, absolutely no reason to use defeat on Gadul Lurker. I'm very much beating that card in a race at the moment. So um, let's just drop the monk and then pass. So apparently my opponent is having a very similar issue to that I am, which is drawing a bunch of lands. He also, I would say, kind of did a disservice to himself by announcing that. But, all right, Sky Captain, fantastic draw here. Very, very fantastic draw. He still does not have the mana to activate Monument, which he will very shortly, like next turn. Which would make next turn probably one of the most amazing turns to draw. I'm actually going to keep this Swamp in my hand because I can currently play everything in my deck. And if for some reason he's got... I guess Mind Rot would make me discard both, so maybe I should have. But I'm trying to think of a card that would only make me discard one. Maybe there isn't one now that I think about it. So he can activate Monument now, which means Coat with Venom would be absolutely bonkers to draw. All right, so he's leaving up the Monument. There's a Soul Summon, so I can defeat plus Soul Summons, not necessarily in that order. Swing with 3. He blocks the Vanguard and takes 6. Bring him to 3. Killing my Vanguard, but leaving me with 3 creatures on board. I think this is a pretty good opportunity to go for it. So we're going to start with Soul Summons, see what we get. Corpse Weft, yeah, not the ideal one. Now we'll defeat the Lurker, and we are going to swing with the team. He's going to block the Vanguard is my assumption. And take 6, which will bring him to lethal range next turn, regardless of whether he keeps the Monument up or not, which means he's got to do some pretty good, he's got to have a pretty good play here to stay alive. And having a good play means he's not going to be able to activate his Monument, so he is in some pretty serious trouble at the moment. Something he can do is activate Monument plus play a 2-mana spell. But he's got to have something pretty spicy here. Dash Guy would be amazing. Coat with Venom would be very good. Will the Naga is my guess. Has to be. It's 6 mana. So tap Monk and Manifest, perhaps? Yeah. Just in case the Manifest's a creature, that makes sense. If we draw a Dash Guy, we just win. Land, unfortunately, no good, but we're still in a pretty good spot here. He's got to build his board relatively fast. He certainly has to leave up the Silumgar Monument next turn, or play a flyer, or deal with my flyer. Any of those options do work. Okay, so he got probably the best of both worlds, since now he has a blocker as well as able to leave up the Monument. Certainly no incentive to attack with Sky Captain now. So I think we're just going to chill out one more turn. He does have to leave up the Monument mana. If I attack there, he just activates Monument, kills my Sky Captain, and leaves me with 2 creatures, doesn't lose anything. So I don't like that. All right, Muck Draggers bring back the Lurker, but he can't block my flyer, so I'm not sure if that works. Because now I just attack with Sky Captain and win. All right. He got it too, so very good. We dodged a bullet there. I think if our opponent, if our opponent had drawn better, we would have been in some massive trouble because we certainly did not have like a 6 start by any means. So I could bring in Duress based on what we saw was Silmgar Monument and a Will of the Naga and a Dousing Gloom. That might just be enough incentive to bring in. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Bring in Duress. That might be enough incentive. I'm not sure. If I bring it in, what am I cutting? We didn't see a lot of stuff we can defeat. We saw a Hand of Silmgar. We saw, maybe, you know, Coat with Venom doesn't go so well against Hand of Silmgar. Maybe we take out 1 Coat with Venom for the Duress. Duress is one of those cards that's going to suck if we draw it late, but very good if you draw it early to mid. Taking out Will of the Naga or Dousing Gloom is pretty appealing since both of those cards are quite good against us. Dousing Gloom especially since we're an aggro deck and it kills most of our stuff. Granted, taking out a Silmgar Monument's not that exciting of a use of Duress, especially since I just beat a Silmgar Monument. So that's, I guess, the debate I'm at right now. I also have Ancestral Vengeance, which I could sideboard against the Lurker, but I'm not really feeling that. Although it does work well against Hand of Silmgar too. That's interesting actually, but still not quite enough incentive to bring it in. Maybe if I see more X1s, like Typhoid Rats or something. If I see like 1 or 2 more X1s, I think I'm more justified in bringing that in. So then the question still remains, do I want Duress over Coat with Venom? I think so. I think because my opponent is blue-black, he's got a lot of spells, a lot of non-creature spells, and I think this is going to be pretty good for that. So let's take out 1 Coat with Venom for it and see if that works okay for us. This hand is very good. We have a good distribution of lands and spells. We get to do a turn 1 Duress into Champ, into Vanguard, eventually getting to our Soul Summons. This is a very good hand. And we get the best use of Duress that you can ask for, which is the old turn 1 use of it. That was a very good draw. Duress our opponent, and I think we're going to try and keep this info. So we only hit 1 card, but certainly a good card to hit. Where is there should be, I believe it, the info, I shouldn't have to write it down. Sadist, Butcher, lands. 3 lands. 3 islands. Sadist, Butcher, 3 islands. Reach of Shadow is gone. So that's a pretty good sign. He's going to be able to play Sadist as just a blocker against our Champ, which is in fact a problem. So I'm not sure exactly what to do about that. He also just drew a Swamp. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to play the Sadist. So important to note there. Yeah, I very much doubt he exploits that. Although, I mean, I obviously want him to, but I think he'd much rather exploit it to a Butcher. So now I think I do Soul Summons instead. I don't want to offer the Champ up to a Sadist, but I'm much more willing to dash and attack with a Soul Summons and a Vanguard the next turn. So let's get a Soul Summons out there. Let's see what we coat with Venom. All right. Well, not one of our Bomby creatures that I would have liked to flip, but that's okay. Yeah, that would have been an interesting attack. I think, honestly, I would have taken it because I'm willing to take the damage there. But let's dash out a Vanguard here. And I think I'm actually going to attack with both. This way, if he's got a combat trick of some sort, I'm much more willing to at least get some damage in. So, say for example, he drew a Douse and Gloom. It would make more sense to attack with both, have him block the Vanguard and then Douse and Gloom, but he would lose his guy, so that wouldn't be a great play for him. Basically, I just don't have a problem attacking with him. Maybe it even incentivizes him to attack with the Sadist, which I'm also okay with. Archfiend is a very good draw. I think my best play is to play Sky Captain and pass. What this does is gives me a flying creature, allows me to play a 2-drop plus dash Vanguard next turn if I draw land. Although if it's a swamp, I'm much more likely to just drop the Archfiend, especially since it's not vulnerable to the Butcher that we know he has. Okay, so now he's going to exploit the Sadist. I imagine just take out the Manifest creature. He's not hugely incentivized to take out the Sky Captain. Yeah, makes more sense. So now I can much more comfortably dash Vanguard into his Butcher and not have any regrets about that, really. But I think we're at the point where we play Archfiend of Depravity and make him have a removal spell, because we're out of information on his hand. We knew about the 3 islands and Butcher, so that part of his hand, our information is over. But we're gonna drop this Archfiend for sure because we already got rid of his Reach of Shadows, and we basically make him deal with an Archfiend immediately, or he's gonna be in some big time trouble. Skullkeeper, just fine. That does allow him to play Will of the Naga, but at this point I'm just not concerned about Will of the Naga. That's not going to stop the inevitability of our flyers. So I'm thinking he probably could have bluffed me there, because even trading a Butcher and a Douse and Gloom at this point in the game is probably a pretty good trade for an Archfiend. If you catch my drift there. Wow, coat with Venom too. It's pretty nice. So we dash here. We swing. I think we're, honestly, because he's likely to just block, I think I am going to coat with Venom. He can't Douse and Gloom in response. So I think that's probably just a good use of a combat trick here. Still in a very big hurry to take care of our Archfiend. Will the Naga on his turn? No, it can't be that. So it's, oh, the Muck Dragger. So he's going to play the Muck Dragger, get back the Butcher. He's still not ready to play the Butcher, and the Butcher doesn't really take care of much. So I think we're still in pretty awesome shape. It does do a good job of keeping back our Vanguard, but he's still in just huge amounts of trouble at the moment. He has just 1 turn left. I could have actually saved the coat with Venom as a way to kill him on my turn here. So that's something I guess I maybe should have considered. but our opponent is still in extremely rough shape here. I guess the play is attack, obviously attack, not attack with the Vanguard, and I think we go Marshhulk plus Wandering Champ, and then plus the dash of our Vanguard the following turn. Our opponent is just in enormous trouble. Even if he has some sort of board wipe, we've got Corpse Weft to just completely give us a brand new army. He's got a Butcher here, he's got to sack the Skullkeeper, and he's got to get rid of probably our Morph. But even that is not enough to prevent him from certain death here with our Flyers. All right, so we got match one. Like I said, our game one keep was about as risky as you can possibly get on the low totem pole of keeps. The old 5-lander with one card that I can't even dash out until turn 3. That hand amazingly only paid off for us because our opponent just happened to be in the same exact boat we were, in fact, to a much worse degree, as that game proved. Game 2, we were just able to get that turn 1 duress. Like I said, the best use of duress you can get is on turn 1, and we got a great spell out of that. We were able to stick our Archfiend of Depravity because of it, completely risk-free, and we drew very well. So very happy with how the deck performed for us game 1 or match 1. So we'll see you round 2.